Mr. President, my fellow delegates. My name is Seamus Regan. I am Canada's Minister of Labour. I'm very grateful to be here today. My husband also wanted to be here today. My husband's name is... Thank you. Thank you. My husband's name is Stelios Konstantinos Dousis. He is my husband of 13 years. That's still such an extraordinary thing for me to say, because as a journalist, I covered the battle for marriage equality in Canada just 20 years ago. And at that time, it was still illegal for same-sex couples to marry. It was an impossibility for me to even entertain the idea as a young man. Only 30 years ago, editorials in our newspapers argued that to sanction marriage between two men would lead to legalizing bestiality and open the way for men or women to marry horses or sheep. So Canada is still relatively new to this. When I speak about this to you, I speak with all due humility. But equality happened. It happened. I am here, in front of you. No one married a horse. No one exchanged vows with a sheep. People just became free. Free to be who they already were. Free to love who they choose to love. Canada is proud to be a founding member of the ILO. We have demanded much of each other. We have also had patience with each other. But we have all, in our own way and in our own time, worked to the same goal: fair, just, and safe work as a fundamental right, not as a cultural circumstance. And we keep moving forward, not back, never back. I see the protection of vulnerable workers as a fundamental reason for the ILO, because the fact is I am a vulnerable worker. I am Canada's Labour Minister, but I am gay, and I am married. I would not be able to work, or I would be jailed, or I would be condemned to death if I happened to have been born in some of the member states before me, in this august form that we all share, to defend the rights of all workers, to defend the rights of all people to have decent work, to defend the rights of all people to live happy and fulfilled lives. So let me tell you something that I now know. I was born this way. It was not taught. I wasn't groomed. This is as natural to me now as the color of my eyes. It is who I am. My green eyes were never judged, but yet so much around me growing up in Canada 40 years ago told me that who I was wrong, that it was shameful, that it was sinful. I was vulnerable. The protection of vulnerable people is not a tangential matter to this body. The equality of every man, of every woman, of every person is not a point for negotiation. I can tell you that my love for my husband will never again be negotiated by a government. And I can tell you that I will never let it be negotiated away or demeaned by anyone in this place or anywhere. This is a place where we can and we must find common cause. Rights are achieved, for some in their own time. Canada respects that, because that's our experience too. But once rights are achieved, once they are named, we will not stand by and have them brushed over, put back in the closet, or taken away. Thank you. The Global Coalition for Social Justice is built on this fundamental tenet, that when we leave one person or one group of people behind, we endanger everyone. And when we leave one country behind, to fight an unlawful illegal invasion of its sovereign borders, it endangers us all. So Canada stands with workers in Ukraine. We stand with workers in Russia. We stand with workers in Belarus. Our Prime Minister and our Deputy Prime Minister were just in Kyiv not 3 days ago to make that point clear to the Ukrainian people and to Vladimir Putin. To the Ukrainian people who are fighting for their lives while we sit in this room safely debating budgets, we are with you. To Ukrainian workers who simply want to provide for their families through the threats of drones hitting homes and artillery